In today's video, we're going to be going through my typical day. Well, that was my intent, typical day, but it really ended up being a non-typical day. So here you go. I get home after work, probably like a lot of you guys, come into the print shop, which is a spare room in my house, to process my Amazon orders. And yeah, it kind of went a little sideways, but let's get into it. You guys should enjoy it. So I got 2 orders today, and well, they weren't what I was expecting.
It was not what I wanted!
I had ordered boxes because I was extremely low on boxes, but they haven't arrived yet. I got the 0.6 nozzle for my Adventurer 5M, the newest one that I just got, and I didn't get this nozzle in time, so everything we did was on the 0.4 nozzle. It's been pretty much just sitting there since. I haven't used it for production because I don't want to use the 0.4 nozzle. My parts are stronger because I used a 0.6, and the 0.6 uses a little bit more material, so I feel like that part's a little more heavy duty. And even though I know there are tricks you can do to make a 0.4 nozzle work, it's just easier to use a 0.6. So it is here, so I can definitely get that swapped out. Unfortunately, this is, look who I had to order from. Oh my gosh. No, this is the A1 Micro. All right, it's brand new. No, I'm kidding. Unfortunately, Sunlu, for whatever, Sunlu, when Bamboo raised their prices on their filament, I saw the filament that I normally order, the Sunlu, price did not go up. It stayed exactly the same. It was $45 for 4 rolls. But unfortunately, everyone apparently started buying them because they just ran out. So I bought as many 4-packs as was available. I think there was only like 2. So I bought the 2 that were available. They were sold out. I went ahead and ordered, even though they said it would be a while before they would. I think it was like calling for them to show up in like June, early June. I went ahead and ordered some anyway. That way I could have them coming. And I bought a 2-pack thinking, well, maybe the 2-pack will hold me over temporarily. They did have some 2-packs, and it didn't. But luckily, Bamboo has seen the light, well, at least on their filament, and it's back down to the original price. So even though it's still more than the Sunlu, it's within range. This is a different box. Is this? I don't know. I haven't ordered from Bamboo in a while. This is a different box. This is PETG HF in black, and these are the refills. Yeah, this is a completely different box than from the last time I ordered from them. This is way, way different. And these are refills because I have tons of Bamboo spools just laying around from when I used to order from Bamboo. So, should we go ahead and get some spooled up? No, I don't think so. I think I'm just going to put these on the shelf and I'll use them as needed. I do have 2 Sunlu spools already loaded up in the A1 and one of the 5Ms. I ran some production last night. If you guys aren't aware, I do print for stock. I don't do print on demand. So I go ahead and print ahead of time. That way I can fill my orders. So I think what I'm going to do is just stick this on the shelf, and then we'll go ahead and pack the orders for the day that I need to do. This is always a super awkward situation because I'm like, okay, we're going to pack orders, but I can't show you my business, like my customers' names, so I have to be really careful about that. It's kind of a pain, to be honest. I guess we're going to find out about this mic location. I did put the dead cat on it because I noticed in the first video that I did, which was the day I got the microphone, there was a little bit of like, breathy noises where I'm just kind of breathing directly down onto the microphone. So I thought, okay, either I can move the mic, and I know a lot of people put their mic up high, and that might be why. Or I can just put the dead cat on it and see if that helps. So that's what we're doing. Got the old dead cat on it today. We're going to see if that helps anything. Let me see. We got order numero uno here. What's this guy getting? Just one. All right. And so I've had to be really careful. Unfortunately, these shipping companies like to chuck my 3D printed item around like it's a football, apparently. And I haven't had a whole lot. I would say I'm probably up to 200-ish orders at this point on this product, which has 3 different variants. But, of those, I've probably had like 4 broken in shipping. And really my fault because I wasn't using craft paper. What I was doing was I was wrapping it up and just throwing it in a box. But I wasn't ensuring that the product wouldn't move around, right? So even though the box isn't damaged, it's getting banged off the walls on the inside. And unfortunately caused some damage. You guys have been following my story. I just picked up a job and I've been an IT guy again. And that's been going amazing. The company had never had an IT person before. This is their first IT person. And I don't think they had a realistic idea of what an IT person really does, like what their job is. So when I came in there and they asked me for a budget. Oh, well, what's your budget going to be for 25? Because their year is in January or July, sorry. Their year's in July, so they wanted to know, hey, what's your budget? And I'm looking at the network, and I'm looking at everything that's going on, and I'm like, you know what? I don't have any intention of spending any money in 25 other than maybe a small emergency fund in case some computers break or something happens, a switch goes down or whatever. But overall, I don't have any intention of spending any money because there's already so much money going out. And these products you're paying for are completely unutilized. So I'm going to spend the vast majority of this year let me know if that tape noise and all this packing noise is too much. I'm going to spend the vast majority of this year just reviewing their network and eliminating these services that they're paying for that they're not utilizing. They're paying for managed services like backups and all this stuff on servers. They have an Active Directory server and not one single person logs into it. It just sits there. And I found the receipt for when they purchased the server, and they purchased it in like 2018 or 19. It's been sitting there a very long time and no one's really utilizing it. And they're paying for services to back up everything, and I forgot to put the slip in. All right, so we're just going to slide that bad boy right up in there. I hate not putting the packing slip in, and I completely forgot to do it. We're going to try to finagle it in there. There we go. But not only that, but they're a non-profit organization, and they're paying full price for Office 365. Like, they have a non-profit discount. You shouldn't be paying full price. So it's going to be an interesting 25, just getting things optimized. And then moving forward, maybe in early 26 or, new year 26, then we'll start spending some money where it benefits the company. It's not really their fault. They've never had a real IT, like a dedicated IT person before. And because of that, you had a couple different people kind of doing like patchworks, the best situation that they can. And then they're paying companies to provide them with IT services. And let's be honest, these companies that provide IT services, they don't have your company's best interest in mind. You know, they've got Cisco managed switches in there that cost $2,000 for a switch, for a 24-port switch. And that office that switch is in, there's like a maximum of like 7 people in that office at a time. Like, why are we spending so much money? We could get something like a Unify 24-port for a fraction of the price and still do the exact same job. All right, so what do we got here? Are you pooping me? Oh, there it is. So we got 2 of those and 1 of those. All right. I'll double read that because you know what? I have messed up before. It has happened, my friends. I have made mistakes. This craft paper has been absolutely amazing. I really think it's the main reason why my shipping problems have gone away is just taking up that additional space inside the box. I think it's been the thing. I think that's the thing that has fixed all my problems. I really do. Come on. There we go. You know, the people like me at the company, they think I'm doing a great job, which is what matters. And after 10 years of self-employment, you kind of, you know, I think a lot of employers are probably leery of people that were previously self-employed because they feel like, you know, they're going to try to run it like their own business, which I guess in a lot of ways I do. But the CEO of the company is okay with that. You know, he's like, hey, you do what you got to do. Why do scissors not work on my left hand? I hate that. But no, I don't believe that a small company needs to spend Cisco switch money, especially when they're not doing any kind of crazy. They're not doing any kind of crazy VLAN or anything like that. Honestly, they could probably get away with an unmanaged switch. And when you have a relationship with a company, I just don't want to jump in there and kick them in the balls right away. You know what I mean? They do a lot of business with this company. They have 3 different fiber lines coming into 3 different locations. And they were paying management on 3 different locations on 3 firewalls and 3 switches and 2 servers. And yeah, I like to just say, hey, you know what? You're all fired. And I could, but in the future, if I need assistance with some connections, let's say I need like a VPN tunnel or something, they're going to remember that. So I have to be a little bit careful when it comes to that. When you establish relationships with companies, you try not to shit on them. So, all right, we're all packed up. We're all ready to go. I'll give you a little BS IT rant for no apparent reason, since you're watching a 3D printing channel, not a IT channel. But we're all boxed up and ready to go. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to put that 0.6 nozzle in our Adventurer 5M. All right, so now the task at hand is to install the 0.6 nozzle. And I wish this was more eventful, but it's not going to be. So basically, you pull out your 0.6 nozzle. On the Adventurer 5M, you just press these two. There's a red tab on each side. You press the two red tabs, and then you pull the nozzle out. And then you just put the new one in. And that's seriously all there is to it. But you know what? I have a hell of a time getting it lined up without seeing the hole. I don't know why, but... So there we go. That was it. Nozzle changed. I guess I should have cut that extra off. I ended up pulling it down through the extruder. Not the end of the world, but don't forget to go in the settings and change the nozzle size. There's actually a setting in the printer. You want to go in and let it know that there's a 0.6 nozzle now installed. There we go. Had to shut off the light. The light was blinding. So right here you can see. And we'll just change that to 0.6. And we're good to go there. And we will now, we're going to redo our bed level and our vibration test with the new 0.6 nozzle installed. Now let me give you an alternative perspective. I want to unload the filament in my A1, and now I have to press unload, wait for it to heat up, wait for it to come over here, cut the filament, and then tell me to retract. I used to think that was a pretty fast process. Now, if I want to unload the filament in one of my AD5Ms, I pull out the PTFE tube, cut the filament, and then just pull it out. I don't have to wait for a warm up. I don't have to wait for it to cut. None of that stuff. That's just something you don't really realize until you start using another brand printer. So funny. I loaded up one of the bamboo refills onto one of my empty bamboo spools. And now we're going to load that material. We don't need to change that, but we do need to change the color for no apparent reason. We'll hit load. It's so funny, as I'm unpacking this refill and putting it on my empty bamboo spool, I kind of had a realization, and I was like, you know what? Those guys that called me like the bamboo fanboy, they weren't wrong. Even though I didn't realize it at the time. Now that I've got a couple of machines outside of their ecosystem, I don't know, it just reminded me loading up that spool, like how I was just so ingrained in what they did, and I thought it was just like the best option, and it was really bamboo that screwed it up. It wasn't anybody telling me I was a bamboo fanboy. It was bamboo jacking up the price of the A1 to $3.99 at the time. And then I realized, hey, I can just take that $3.99, add a couple bucks, and buy two FlashForge 85Ms for just $59 more. And that's exactly what I did. But I have to look back and wonder, man, would I have switched, or would I have just bought another? If I went to Bamboo's website and it was $3.39 like it normally is, would I have just bought another A1 and been happy? I can't help but think the answer to that would be yes. I probably would have. Well, you purged, but not quite enough, so we're going to have to do it again. Oh, that should be fine. So I've got both of the FlashForge units going right now. I'm going to throw up on the screen because someone had mentioned about how loud the FlashForge units were. And so I went ahead and hit decibel X and did a decibel reading. Now, this decibel reading that you're going to see up on the screen here is of both FlashForge 85Ms running simultaneously. They're both doing a job right now. And you're getting the reading from that. And I think it peaked out at like 59 decibels for open frame, for 2 open frame printers, it's not that bad. I think what's really killing it is look at the frequency, 1350 hertz. It's a very high pitched noise coming out of them, and that is really that. It's really that hot end fan. They have a little tiny hot end fan on that, and that hot end fan is serious. Like, it is serious, is moving. And I think that's where all the noise is coming from, is that little hot end fan. I may look down the road. I know some people that have changed that hot end fan to a new one, and I may do that on those units, because literally that's about the only thing that makes noise on them. But again, I'm in more of a commercial space, I guess you could say. Like, these aren't in my living room, and when the door's closed, it doesn't bother me. So why do I care if they're noisy? Remember when I said in a previous video I was using some white PLA from a company that would remain unmentioned? Well, probably good that I didn't, because I just kicked on the X1C to change the nozzle, and that same filament that's been in there in this dry box just broke off in my AMS. It's nowhere in the PTFE tubes, so it's literally just broke off right there. Good times. Well, I guess I'm going to go ahead and change my nozzle like I intended to, and then after that, it looks like I'll be tearing my AMS apart to get that filament out, and, well, we won't be using that filament anymore. Ridiculous. I knew better. I knew better than to use that crap. As soon as the... Is it off? No, it's not off. As soon as it broke off when I was trying to get it loose from the spool, I knew better. And now I'm paying the price. Watch the filament you use, kids. That's going to affect the consistency of your equipment, unfortunately. It's not one of the filaments I use on a regular basis. I just happened to get some, and it wasn't even a sponsored filament. It was just one that I purchased on my own. Lesson learned. Now my number 1 spot is red. Yay! But my intent was, I'm going to switch this X1 carbon back over to the 0.4 nozzle. And then from now on, it will be probably somewhere else. Because my plan is something in the 350 to 400 millimeter range. We'll be setting here soon. Hopefully soon. Alright, let's move the y-axis up, not the y-axis, the z-axis. Move it down a little bit. Give myself some room to work. And then we'll shut it off. Man, I am so salty right now. I have never had a problem with this AMS. And that just happening just made me mad. Oh, I'm so mad. I will never use that filament again. I know I've seen videos of people having problems, and so I know it happens, but it's just never happened to me, ever. Angry. Alright, so let's get our 0.4 nozzle back in. And this is where it's going to stay. I don't know where it's going to... I think I'm going to want to get the workbench done. I think I'm going to move the X1C over to the workbench. And then I'm going to put that big printer on top here with the A1. And then eventually there'll probably be a third flash forge unit down here on the bottom, just to round it out, 3 units across the bottom. And there's a train. Alright, we'll get her plugged in and she'll be all done. This is the worst part. I've got one. I talked about it before in a previous video, and it has come to light. One of the plugs on this printhead board doesn't retain the plug. You can plug it in, but it doesn't clip anymore. It doesn't hold it. It just basically sits in there and it doesn't clip. Now, it hasn't caused me any problems as of yet, but exactly what I thought might happen ended up happening. 0.4 nozzle swapped, so I guess I'm going to enjoy the experience of fishing filament out of my AMS now. Yeehaw. Alright, so what I'm going to try here, I'm hoping, because I can see it right there, I'm hoping that I can take some good known filament, feed it down through the AMS, and just force the shit filament right out the back. I'm going to say that that is not going to work, but yep, not going to work. If I had it plugged in, I might be able to hit load, which would cause it to try to load filament, and then I could push this in, which would push the rest of it out. Maybe I'm being wishful thinking. Maybe. Yeah, it's literally just right there past the motor that draws it in. You can tell where it broke off at. Oh, it's so angering. Another hope and a prayer. I've got this little piece that came with. I'm going to try to drive it down in here and push that filament down. Oh my god, that worked. Okay. So, with that done, can now I shove this? I probably jacked that motor all to hell is what I did. Okay, I'm feeding it manually. Look at here. Look at coming out of the back. Shit filament. I hope that was all of it. I got enough of this. It should come out the back also. Maybe. Would that have been all of that? Please tell me that would have been all of that. Yes, I think it was. Alright, I think I might have got lucky. Let's take it over. We'll put it back on the X1C, and let's see if I didn't have to tear my AMS apart. Well, we'll give it a shot. I'm going to put the AMS back up here, reinstall the cord and the PTFE tube, and keep your fingers crossed, kids. Hopefully I did not have to take... Hopefully I didn't, in the process, break my AMS trying to keep from taking it apart. Okay, let's turn the unit back on. And we'll attempt to load filament in the first one. I have some PETG here that I'm going to load into slot 1. Fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed. Let's see what happens. Yes! And let me see here. Did it identify it? It did. It's loaded and it identified it. Okay, so tragedy avoided. Thank God. I didn't want to do that at all. So that was it. Believe it or not, it's just so strange that I decided to record that day and the AMS decided to do that. It's so weird. But I predicted that happening when I put that filament in there over a week ago. And it's just, it was the universe punishing me for being stupid, I suppose. I don't know. Hit that subscribe button. If the video brought you some value, maybe share it out there with someone that got filaments stuck in their AMS and they had to take it completely apart. Maybe they didn't have to. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Later.